Konnichiwa minasama, welcome to the Winter 2026 anime review. We are going to be ranking the anime that released from January to March from best to worst. So, the best anime of Winter 2026 is obviously Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. I think season 3 is better than the previous two seasons because the previous two seasons felt like they were being carried by Gojo Sensei's charisma and insane action sequences. In season 3, with Gojo Sensei being sealed, I feel like every character gets to shine. And season 3 is filled with lots of colorful characters. Like you have our Yuji, the main protagonist, who gets beat up a lot this season, and you also have Maki, who eliminates the entire Zenin clan. I think that episode is the best, second only to episode 9. And you also have Yuta and additional new characters like Kirara and Hakari, who are absolute goofballs. I also love Panda-san, who is there for comedic relief. And I also love Kogane, who just looks too cute and just pops in occasionally to give updates about the culling game. The action sequences in season 3 are more insane than ever. I feel like the animators have given their 2000% just for the action sequences. And not to mention how equally adrenaline inducing the soundtracks are accompanying the action sequences. And I love how they take their time to explain the technique of each and every sorcerer. And since we are in the Culling Games arc, you are better off trying to prepare for JE Advanced rather than trying to understand how the Culling Games actually work. Culling Games are organized by Kenjaku, and the only reason our protagonists are even willing to enter the Culling Games is to find a player called Angel who can eliminate every curse, thereby eliminating the prison where Gojo Sensei is sealed in and freeing Gojo Sensei. So, I love episode 9 where Yuji confronts a defense lawyer named Higaramaru. Now, Higaramaru is too deranged for a defense lawyer, and if you're wondering why is that, don't worry guys, I'll tell you. Higaramaru probably got traumatized by watching the movie Assi. Higaramaru has such a goated power. He has a judge at his disposal. Do you know how many of us would kill to have that? So he just believes that humanity is dead, all the humans are just weak and ugly, and empathy is overrated, until he questions Yuji about the Shibuya incident, and Yuji admits to being guilty about the massacre. And this shakes Higaramaru because he knows about Sukuna, and he is just like, listen, I know my forensics, and I know that you, Yuji, were not in compos mentis. You were not in sound mind during the Shibuya incident. Sukuna took control of you, and Sukuna is the one who committed murder. So why would you admit to being guilty? And Yuji is just like, in a way, I feel responsible because I was not strong enough to stop Sukuna from controlling my body. And this makes Higaramaru go back to his roots for why he wanted to become a defense lawyer in the first place. So he agrees to give his 100 points to Yuji so that Yuji can add a new rule to the Culling Games. I love the fight between Megumi and Kirara, and I also love how the anime switches from a serious tone to a comedic tone in a flip of a switch, and how well it works in the anime's favor. The intro is also goated. It is on my Spotify playlist. So I think that Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is a work of art. There is something for everybody in it, and it gets a 9.5 out of 10. The next anime on this list is Hell's Paradise Season 2. That's right, guys. Gabimaru finally returns to our screens a full 8 years later after leaving us with a cliffhanger in season 1 where he lost all his memories and where the others doubt the existence of his wife. Season 2 of Hell's Paradise starts with the Emperor sending many Yamadas to the island and Gabimaru's master sending many ninjas over. So now the Yamadas and the ninjas have to work together to find the people in the island and to annihilate Gabimaru. While our party here, Gabimaru and Saigiri and Yuzuriha and others are going to fight Tengen-sama to find the elixir of life. Now, Hell's Paradise is a masterpiece in terms of world building and character writing. And the pacing of this anime is pretty good, at least according to seinen manga standards. Hell's Paradise gets bonus points for Bochujutsu scenes. So, the fights in Hell's Paradise are nothing short of a visual spectacle. The intro of Hell's Paradise is pretty melodious and also visually stunning. It can give Jujutsu Kaisen and Oshinoko a run for its money. I also love the sad tune of the outro. So Hell's Paradise gets a 9.5 out of 10. The next anime on this list is Fire Force Season 3 Part 2. Now, Part 1 left us on a cliffhanger with Shinra pulling a Barry Allen and traveling back into an alternate timeline with the help of an Adola link to prevent the Great Cataclysm from happening. Now, the Great Cataclysm is a major event in the anime, kind of like how Infinity War was to the MCU. So Shinra finds out that the Great Cataclysm intends to merge people's perception of reality and reality itself, which means everyone has a doppelganger now, and I would love it if the moon looked like this every day. Fire Force Season 3 Part 2 has some great shots, and like Jujutsu Kaisen, it brings us epic fights every week. I love the battle between Benimaru and his grandpa. I also love the battle between Tamaki and Assault. And I think that the battle between Arthur and Dragon in space was nothing short of a spectacle. If you guys missed the flashy art style of Demon Slayer and Demon Slayer Infinity Castle left a big hole in your heart, then Fire Force Season 3 Part 2 is for you, because it mimics the same flashy battle style as Demon Slayer. And brownie points to Fire Force because it did something that is very rare in anime. It brought actual humans to tell the story, at least for the first 2 minutes. So based on all of this, Fire Force Season 3 Part 2 gets a 9.5 out of 10. Partly because I think Shinra's backstory could have used more time. Sure, finding out about his mother through the Adola link was nice, but I feel like Blue Exorcist did it better since it dedicated more than half the season to Ren's mother and what actually went down that night, while Shinra's backstory just wraps up in one episode. Nonetheless, the reunion between Shinra and Sho feels very wholesome, and I wish we could see more of Sho and Shinra fighting together. The next anime on this list is Vigilante's My Hero Academia Season 2. You guys, I'll be really honest with you. I wanted to give this series a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 because in terms of plot, this series felt a bit stale. Like, you have Koichi's master who left at the end of the first season to take care of his daughter, who was the main antagonist in the first season, and now you have a new antagonist who has his hands on the Japanese version of Compound V and is distributing it all around illegally to give us a new throwaway villain of the week. And we have the OGs back in action, like All Might, Aizawa, Fat Gum, Midnight, and shenanigans keep happening. Like, Koichi and Popchan are doing their own thing, and all our OGs are kicking asses. And we also learn that Koichi got a new quirk, like attaching himself to objects like a bullet train, like a magnet, and his suction power also got a bit strong, and he can send force fields to objects his way, make them fly up and everything. So I thought this series was going to be a classic nostalgia bait since My Hero Academia ended last fall. But this series peaks after episode 5 because I learned that Aizawa and Koichi actually make a pretty good duo, and we get a full backstory about Aizawa's high school days. You guys, seeing little Aizawa smile and feed a cat was not on my bingo card this winter, But it felt really bittersweet because you know that Aizawa's friend Shirakumo dies and he becomes a Nomo in My Hero Academia, which is one of the saddest scenes in the series because in Vigilantes, we see why Aizawa becomes the way he is and why he just works with underground criminals to get villains. And Shirakumo's death is one of the saddest scenes in this season. It was very well done. The action scenes are also extraordinary. So, if you guys cannot wait for season 4 of The Boys and you still have a superhero craving, then Vigilantes is just for you. Plus, it is filled with cute and goofy moments. So, I think you'll really laugh and cry at the same time in the series. So, Vigilantes, if I haven't mentioned already, gets a 9.5 out of 10. The next anime on this list is Frieren Season 2. Heh, y'all thought I had a simple shonen brain. No, guys. Frieren Season 2 also gets a 9.5 out of 10 because of manga spoilers, baby. So, Frieren Season 2 starts off with our heroes party consisting of Frieren, Stark, and Fern going to different villages and eradicating monsters as an adventurer party should do. Now, what sets Frieren apart from your normal average adventurer party anime is that Frieren gives depth to its characters. Watching Frieren go on her current adventures and comparing it to the adventures she'd had in the past with Himmel and his party is very wholesome to watch. I also find Stark and Fern's relationship cute. Their date was also very wholesome. It was not overdone in terms of romance, so I highly appreciate that. It was nice seeing Sayori again, and not to mention the fights are also pretty gorgeous. And knowing that Frieren actually received a premonition from the hero of the South about Himmel and how they would eventually defeat the Demon King was also a nice touch to the season. So I really hope they cover Grosov's arc and let's move on. The next anime on this list is Medalist Season 2. That's right, guys. The spiritual successor of Yuri on Ice returns with a second season, which means my broken heart from not getting ice adolescence can finally heal, at least for a few weeks. So, if you guys don't know, Medalist revolves around Inori, who is a 10-year-old girl super dedicated towards the sport of ice skating. But unfortunately for Inori, her mother does not like the world of ice skating because Inori's sister had gotten injured when she was trying to land a jump while ice skating. But that doesn't stop Inori from sneaking out and practicing ice skating in secret. Inori goes as far as to collect worms to pay to the skating rink owner just so that she could get a few minutes of practice. Now, all of this changes when Inori meets Coach Tsukasa, who shares the same past as her. Tsukasa started skating at the age of 14 after watching this guy named Jun and decides that Jun is his idol. But unfortunately for Tsukasa, his competitions don't go that well and he blames himself for the failures. So upon seeing Inori, he sees himself in her and promises to be the best coach for Inori and make Inori win the gold medal. Inori and Tsukasa make one of the best coach-student duos in anime. This anime is very heartfelt in terms of character writing and the skating sequences are breathtaking. The camera work is exceptional. It makes you feel like you are one of the audience watching a live show. The pacing of Medalist is pretty good, at least according to sports manga standards, and I really want to know a lot more about Jun and why is he the way he is, what caused him to retire. And we also are introduced to a bunch of new charismatic contestants in the second season, while the first season concludes with Inori promising her rival Hikaru-chan that she will see her in the All Japan Final Skating Tournament. And when Tsukasa meets Jun in the second season, Jun kind of talks down to him, saying that he will win the All Japan Final Skating Tournament. However, in the second season, Inori kind of wins the gold medal in the qualifying round, which is a very proud moment, and the build up to the moment is also pretty great. And the intro is very, very gorgeous to look at, especially the choreography. And the outro is also pretty cute. So, based on all of this, Medalist gets a 9 out of 10. The next anime on this list is Tamon's B-side. Now guys, have you heard of the saying, never ever meet your idols? Tamon's B-side explains why exactly you should never ever meet your idols. Now Tamon's B-side revolves around our protagonist, Utage-san, who is your typical high school girl having a crazy fan crush on an idol group named Face. And I think Face can potentially give Saja boys from K-pop Demon Hunters a run for their money, because every member in the Face idol group is pretty hot and charismatic. Utage-san's favorite member of the Face idol group is none other than its leader, Tamon-kun. Now, I relate to Utage-san on a very personal level because she reminds me of myself when I was a BTS fan, and still reminds me of myself because I am now a Jasper fan. Now, Utage-san works as a housekeeper part-time, so one day she is assigned an apartment for housekeeping because the original housekeeper had to go on a leave. So, when Utage-san reaches there, she discovers that the owner of the apartment flat is none other than her favorite idol, Tamon-kun. And what also shocks Utage-san is that Tamon-kun on camera is this flirtatious, extroverted, outgoing guy, but off camera, Tamon-kun is a very gloomy introvert with a zero to no self-worth. Tamon's B-side explores the duality of the idols on camera and off camera perfectly. It's not as peppy as Unita, but it is also not as dark as Oshinoko. And it makes me wonder, what is BTS like off camera? Or what is Jasper like when the cameras are off? But I think some mysteries are better left unsaid. However, my favorite character in Tamon's B-side is Natsuki-kun. Now, Natsuki-kun is a very interesting character because on camera, Natsuki-kun is just like, I am just your happy little angel. But off camera, Natsuki-kun smokes and drinks and is in charge of writing songs. So his past is also very interesting. While the slow burn romance budding between Utage and Tamon-kun is pretty interesting, I think that Natsuki-san's story stole the spotlight at least for some time. And we also have Tsundere-san and also the new leader of the Face group, and watching all of them bond is honestly very beautiful. I love the soundtrack of the anime, and I also love the songs such as Eyes on You and Face Off and the intro Sweet Magic. The choreography is also great. It is not a CGI abomination like One Dance or even Unite Up at times. I think it is as good as Medalist. And also, Tamon's B-side gets a 9 out of 10. So if you want a fresh take on idol anime, and if you are looking for a slow burn romance, then this anime is just for you. I am particularly a fan of the animation because Utage-san explodes into 1,000 hearts whenever Tamon-kun does fan service. And I could relate to that on a deeper level because that is me whenever I watch BL Reels. But if you are looking for a darker take on the entertainment world and the industry of idols in general, then you all know that Oshinoko is the way to go. Oshinoko Season 3 starts off on a very dark tone, and this is made very clear from the intro, which is much different from the intro of the rest of the two seasons. Oshinoko's intro kind of looks very sexy, and the outro is also very melodious. It is on top of my Spotify playlist. So Oshinoko season 3 starts off with Ruby finding out that her mother's killer is still alive, right where we left off in the second season, and so she tries to manipulate everybody around her to get to Ice Killer. And while Aqua still believes that Ice Killer is kind of dead, he still plays the stone cold guy and works on his relationship with Akane. And I think the most tragic character in Oshinoko is Kana Arima, because she has a lot to worry about. She feels that she is the least popular member in B Komachi, her idol group, and also she is not getting any new acting offers after Tokyo Blade. Now, Oshinoko does nothing new in presenting the stories on the darker side of the entertainment industry. We have seen this before. What makes Oshinoko so great is the unique way it is given to us. Like Kana Arima just turning 18 and going to be intimate with a director just to get a movie role is very terrifying to watch, but thankfully she backs away after thinking about Aqua. And you also have this scene where Aqua gets a huge panic attack that makes you want to call a therapist for this guy. And while we're at it, I think Kana Arima also needs a therapist, because everybody in this anime is very, very messed up. This anime shows how easy it is for idols and actors to get into scandals and what toll it takes on their mental health. So, paparazzis, you are a nuisance. Anyway, the pacing of Oshinoko is very smooth, but what worries me is how faithful this anime is to the manga, because we're already at a point where Aqua reveals the truth to the entire world that he and Ruby are Ai's children. And this leads to everybody becoming estranged from Aqua and kind of disowning him. But Aqua did this to protect Kana Arima from the director's scandal. Now, I love the voice acting and the animation and the soundtrack of Oshinoko. Everyone gave it their 1000%. The confrontation scene between Aqua and Ruby is just phenomenal, where Aqua is just like, Ruby, this is not who you are. You don't want to become this kind of idol who thrives on manipulation and lies. And Ruby, with her dark, starry eyes, saying that, hey, Aqua, even our mom was an idol and she lied to the entire world by not telling the entire world about us being her children. And you also have Akane playing the detective and finding out that Ice Killer is still alive but choosing not to tell Aqua. So the breakup between Aqua and Akane felt very meticulous, but the scene served its purpose. So I am just worried about the season ending on the incest scene. And with that, Oshinoko gets a 9 out of 10 purely for the animation purposes and how much effort was put into this. I really hope the anime adapts the fan ending, which is goated. The next anime on this list is You and I Are Polar Opposites. Now, you guys, this anime starts off like your run-of-the-mill romance anime, okay? You have this super-duper extroverted girl named Suzuki-san who sits next to this super-duper introverted guy named Tani-kun, and Suzuki-san loves Tani-kun. She has a humongous crush on him. And why do we know that? Because Suzuki-san outright tells us that. And Suzuki-san's extroverted style is depicted by this hyper-realistic animation similar to the one in My Dress-Up Darling. So, in the first episode, something very unthinkable happens because Suzuki-san asks Tani-kun if they can go home together, and then midway, Tani-kun holds her hand. Proper hand holding, okay? And then Suzuki-san does not know what to make out of it. And by the end of the first episode, Suzuki-san does something very unpredictable. She runs after Tani-kun and she tells him that she loves him. And by the end of the first episode, Tani-kun reciprocates her feelings and they begin dating. Now, what are you supposed to do for the rest of the 11 episodes? They start navigating the honeymoon stages of their relationship, and the anime takes a comedic slice of life tone. So, it kind of gives the similar vibe as the inexperienced you and the experienced me. You will feel your heart flutter in every episode, and you will be screaming and squealing in your pillow anytime a fluffy moment occurs in the episode. So make sure not to disturb your neighbors, and also that your room is soundproof when you tune into a new episode and plan to binge this week to week. So this anime gets an 8.5. We have another romance anime coming up, which is called In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. Now, this revolves around our protagonist Yoi-chan here, who is considered as the prince of the school because of her tomboyish looks and how handsome the other girls perceive her to be. Now enter our male lead, Ichimura senpai. Ichimura senpai is very interested in Yoi-chan when he first meets her, and acts like the second male lead in the K-drama, aka he constantly makes moves on her and flirts with her. So Yoi-chan is just like, fine, I'll go on a date with you, even though it's just the second or third episode of the series. So both of them start a relationship, and it is just an experimental phase up until like episode 5. So if you guys have unresolved trauma from K-drama where the second male lead never wins, then this anime will heal it. In the Clear Moonlit Dusk gets an 8 out of 10. The next anime on this list is The Daily Life of a Part-Time Torturer. This revolves around our Sero-san, who loves to torture people, but not in a psychotic way. He just views it as a job since he's kind of interested in it. And then you have Sero-san's mentor, Siyu-san, and 2 new recruits, Mike and Hugh. Now, Hugh is pretty socially anxious, so he doesn't show his face, and Mike wants to be a novel writer, and he writes novels about torture. I love the banter between these 4, and I also love their boss, who is like a discount Tsubaki-san, but hey, representation is always welcome here. And I also like how this anime makes my week good, because let's face it, American sitcoms are kind of dead, and this anime has an element of comedy in it. Bonus points for these boys looking really, really pretty, and there is one episode where everybody transforms into a kid and looks too cute for their own good. So considering all of that, The Daily Life of a Part-Time Torturer gets an 8 out of 10. If you like Bungo Stray Dogs, but you want it to be in a more lighthearted tone or in a more comedic version, then The Daily Life of a Part-Time Torturer is just for you. And now, Minasama, we are entering into the mid category of anime, which means anime that can be binged while you are having food or while you're scrolling through your phone. So the first anime on this list is Tune Into the Midnight Heart. Now, Tune Into the Midnight Heart has a very interesting concept, and I would say that it is better than Maken Too Many Losing Heroines, which won the Crunchyroll Award for Best Slice of Life, if you care about that. So Tune Into the Midnight Heart revolves around our protagonist, Yamabuki-kun, who is a very snooty, arrogant person, but has a heart only for this podcaster named Apollo. And he comes to high school aiming for a girl who shares the similar voice as Apollo. So he runs into 4 girls from the broadcasting club instead, and finds out that these girls, when they say something in sync, sound just like Apollo, his middle school podcaster friend. So the anime revolves around Yamabuki-kun making the dreams of these 4 girls come true, so he fights tooth and nail for it. We have one of them wanting to become a singer, and one of them wanting to become a VTuber, and one of them wanting to become a broadcaster, and one of them wanting to become a voice actress. And watching this has its comedic moments, but I kinda clocked out after a few episodes. Not that this anime was bad, but it simply got a bit repetitive. So this anime gets a 7.5 out of 10. The next anime on this list is The Demon King's Daughter is Too Kind, which revolves around our ruthless demon king who wants to take over the world and rule over humans without any mercy and torture them to the point of death. But what is stopping him is that his daughter, Dukes, is too kind, and she actually loves helping people and solving their problems and has powers to heal injuries nonetheless. So the king appoints his commander, Jahi, to inculcate some evil habits in his daughter, and the anime revolves around how Jahi fails to do that every time because Dukes always finds a way to be kind, and Dukes is just too cute for this anime. She rivals Anya and Miri in cuteness. I just want to adopt Dukes one day, and everybody should have a daughter like Dukes. So the songs in this anime are cute too. They are better than Uramichi Onisa, which literally revolves around nursery kids and how to entertain them when you are a very depressed 30-year-old. So if you enjoy a family-friendly comedy anime, or you want to binge something week to week and later forget about it, then this anime is just for you. Demon King's Daughter is Too Kind gets a 7.5 out of 10. So we've got another romance anime on this tier, which is called Hana Kimi. Now, I haven't watched the original drama this anime is based on, but the anime has got too much K-drama or the J-drama vibes, so if you're a fan of that, then I highly recommend checking this anime out. Otherwise, Hana Kimi has got some comedic elements to it, but I personally feel that the animation is a bit wonky at times. Nevertheless, it's got some lovable characters and a failed high jump athlete, and also the chemistry is good to work with. So Hanakimi follows our protagonist who enters into an all-boys school despite being a girl just to meet her favorite athlete, only to find out that he quit high jump after an accident, and it's her job to motivate him to be athletic again. Honestly, I'd say it's a very repetitive trope, so Hanakimi gets a 7 out of 10. The next anime is an isekai BL, and guys, this might surprise you, okay? I kind of did not have the heart to continue with this anime because it got too predictable too fast, and although there were fluffy moments in it, I just couldn't finish this anime because it was that boring, and I've had my fair share of reading isekai BL manhwas, so scrutinize me all you want in the comments, but this anime gets a 6 out of 10, and I am so sorry for saying that. I know that getting BL in anime is a rarity, but when you have seen Thai dramas, then you are kind of spoiled by the fan service, and I just hope you can forgive me for this. The next anime on this list is Dark Moon Blood Altar, and I think this is an adaptation of a Korean webtoon because it follows a girl named Suha who is mistaken for a vampire because she has superhuman strength and is kind of blamed for her childhood friend's death. Thereby, she hates vampires, and she enrolls in the Declared Academy only to meet Heli, who is a very friendly student president, and he is kind of attracted to her instantly. But what Suha does not know is that Heli and his entourage are also vampires or vampire and werewolf hybrid. You even have Sundare-san here who gets attracted to her instantly. And I do feel like the edits are messy, just like my video. I personally think that it does nothing new, and it is kind of repetitive and predictable at times. So I was clocking out at some points, and it just has elements of reverse harem also in it because the boys are just like, okay, there is something attractive about her. You feel like doing whatever she tells you, and they are also amazed by her super strength, which we haven't seen at all in any fantasy anime. Regardless, if you've read the webtoon and if you're a fan of the saga, then this anime is just for you. And now we enter into the worst tier, which means anime you should definitely stay away from. And the worst anime of winter 2026 is, does it really count if you lose your virginity to a robot? Think like this. If Teri Baaton Mein Uljha Jiya was a lesbian drama, which is exactly why you should stay away from this anime. Now, it is kind of a hentai, but I will give credit where credit is due. The lovemaking scenes are pretty hot. So, if you're someone like me who likes to watch erotic stuff before they sleep, then this anime is just for you. It is only 12 episodes long, and each episode is just 4 minutes, so it gets by in a breeze. Otherwise, in terms of plot and storyline, this anime gets a 4 out of 10. And that's a wrap on the winter 2026 anime. Do let me know if I've missed some good anime out there, and let me know what your favorite anime is in the comments down below. I'll see you next time, and thank you so much for making it till here. It really means a lot to me.